Hi, everybody. Good evening. And for some of you, good morning. How are you guys doing? We got a couple people in the chat already, so let me bring some people up. Hey, Sarah, how are you? And we have Joyce, virtual hugs all around, virtual hugs and musical fans. Hi there. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining this evening. We got a couple people in the chat. So before we start, I always like to give a reminder that during this entire interview, which is live, you can go ahead in the YouTube chat, which I believe is to this side of me, and you can ask any questions you have for our guests this evening, and I could bring them up on the screen kind of like this. So Steven's here. Hi, Steven. And we have another guest. Hello. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I apologize. Got a couple people in the chat. So glad you guys are here. So let's get started. Good evening. My name is Tammy Tuckey, and this is the Tammy Tuckey Show. And it's good to see all of you here. Tonight, I'm really excited, and I can't wait. I'm very excited to welcome this singer, actor, and songwriter, John Eyzen, to the show. So welcome, John. Hi.
Hi everyone.
It's good to
Good
see
morning
you.
for some of them. Good evening. I don't know where you are, but for you it's 9, right? 9 p.m.
It's 9 p.m. here in Philly, so like New York time.
Okay.
And
Hi
where are you?
Tammy,
Why don't you
nice to
tell
see
the
you.
Well, you want to tell everybody where you are right now?
So right now, I'm in Taiwan, so for me it's 9 a.m. So that's why I'm coffee drinker.
I know I was going to send you one, but I just didn't know the address, so I apologize. I'm sending you a virtual one. So
Okay.
but
Thank you.
thank you. I know it's early, and being a singer and performer,
It's
it's
okay.
not fun to wake up in the morning. So I do appreciate this.
No, don't worry. Nowadays I'm not performing, so I wake up earlier, so it's okay. No problem.
It's like after all this time with like I don't know about you, but for a long time, because I'm a performer too, and it's been so long since I've done a show, but you're so used to
Yeah,
sleeping in during the day and then just being up
that's
till
true.
like 2 and 3.
Yeah, at my early career it was like that. I was doing shows finish around 11 p.m. and then of course I cannot eat before show, so I eat after. And like everyone, when you finish your day, you don't go to sleep directly. You do stuff, you see friends, you eat, you maybe go for a drink. So we never go to sleep before 2 or 3. Now I'm a bit older, so I changed a little bit the rhythm and I wake up earlier and go to sleep earlier too.
I can't eat before a show either. I just get too nervous. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, same. It's impossible, and especially I like to feel free and not heavy when I'm on stage, especially when I have to do a physical character. It's impossible to eat, or maybe just an apple or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I know where you're coming from. I get so nervous, but drinking a lot of water during the show is always great. I keep hydrated.
Of course, same for me.
But it's so I wanted to go into your beginnings, but before we do, just like long story short, and my friend is in the chat, Sarah, who I brought up on the screen.
Hmm.
I had been a huge fan of Notre-Dame de Paris for years since I've been in college,
Okay.
and
How
we
did you know
came.
this show?
So I don't know how I found it. I remember like I was in my college dorm and I'm like, we're in the Poconos, so it snows
Hmm.
all the time and you're
Okay.
stuck in your dorm. There's nothing to do. And I was just looking up musicals and that one popped up, like the 98 version, like the
Exactly.
original version.
Hmm.
And then a friend of mine told me it was going to come to the United States because I never thought I'd get to see it live.
We
And
neither, actually.
that's
It
what
was a huge
I'm saying.
surprise.
You poor things. Like I'm sure you wanted to come to New York. So you finally came
Of
and I
course,
got my
it's a
program.
childhood dream to play. Yeah, I can see it.
Both of my programs. I had a small one and my big one. God, it was so
Yeah,
much fun.
I
We
saw the
had
baby. Yeah.
like Sarah, so the performance we went to was a matinee and it was delayed by 20 minutes because the lyrics weren't showing up on the board. Do you
Oh
remember
yeah,
that show?
I remember that show. Yeah. There was a problem. Oh my God, yes, I forgot about
So
that.
much.
Yeah, it was crazy. Backstage, everyone was running everywhere. We were all dressed up, waiting. I was playing Gringoire that day, so I was waiting. Okay, ready to be on stage, but no, delay. Okay, 10 minutes more, 5 minutes more. I'm like, okay, let's go back to warm up and everything.
Yes, you're like, where are we going to stop? And like, honestly, you guys are union, so you have to start at a specific time or y'all not going to do that show. So
I
I was
know.
like,
I
and then my
know.
poor friend doesn't know French and she doesn't know the show at all. So I'm like, oh boy.
Of course, so for these people, I think it was a hard show. I think
Yeah.
it was a hard show for the people who doesn't know the show, doesn't know the lyrics, and there is no translation. Yeah, it was a hard time for us too, you know, because
But
we could feel the audience were not into the show like usually. So yeah, but that's
I was
live, you
front
know, like
row.
show this kind of things can happen sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I was front row. I was so into it. I was like, woo! I was so loud, but I think I was the only one who was really loud. And Sarah says she loved it. She loved the show. So
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much.
so I just wanted to say it was like so much fun. So that's how I discovered you, and I got to finally see the show. So you were brilliant in it, and
Thank you so much.
I'm not originally a Gringoire girl, and I was like, okay, your performance of it was so different, and I loved it. I was like, I actually really like this character now, so it was really great.
Oh,
So
cool. No, it's a great character, and to be honest, all my most of my favorite songs are sung by Gringoire. So I was really happy to act this character. Yeah.
it was brilliant. So
Thank you.
but you know, as a performer, did you do a lot of performing as a kid, and were your parents performers where you're like, oh, I want to do what
Oh
they
my
do?
God, yeah, I started like pretty early. My first show, I was not even 3 years old. I was 2.5 years old, my very first show.
So
My
cute.
parents used to run a musical school, actually. So as soon as I was able to walk directly to dance classes, and no, I started pretty early, thanks to my parents. Yeah, my mother was a dancer and choreographer. My father was photographer. So yeah, artistic family. I've been growing up in this environment all my life, and there was no way I was doing something else than art and stage in my life. And yeah,
It opened
so I
your
started pretty
eyes.
early. Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is my life for the rest of my life.
Actually, honestly, actually, I never thought that way because it was already like that since I was born,
Mhm.
and you know, I think my mother used to run classes even when she was pregnant for like all her pregnancy, basically until 3 days before I was born. She was still teaching, but I'm okay, no problem. And
Well,
no,
she
no,
inspired you.
before I was born, music was already inside my body. So yeah, it was naturally. So I never thought I would do this or maybe something else. No, it was always that.
It
So
was
yeah.
always that. Well, and then you're kind of thrust into this big spotlight. So there was a show called Star Academy, and you were season
Mhm.
4.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
for our United States audience who probably doesn't know what it is, it's kind of like a mixture of the X Factor and Big Brother and American Idol all in one. Because you guys were
That's
under the
exactly
same,
that. Yeah.
right? So why don't you tell us a little bit like about what the show is about and how you got cast in it?
I was on stage with I don't remember. I think it was my rock band back then. I was like 17, not even 18.
Oh.
Or maybe it was with my company. I don't. It was long ago. Anyway, so after the show, this woman came to me and say, "Okay, I'm working for this TV show, Star Academy. Maybe you heard it. Of course, everyone heard it. Like 1 person on 6 was watching this TV show every Saturday. It was really huge back then in France. So of course, I heard it and I was like, no, thanks, not interested. I'm
Why?
never. I've never been into TV and TV show. I never watch TV, almost never, except the news or when there is a good movie on TV. Um, so I was not really into it. And this woman told me, okay, but you know, for the audition, all the people from Universal Music will be there in the jury.
Oh.
So maybe that's an occasion to pass your CDs and stuff. So I was like, yeah, okay, I will come. So I came in the for the audition with a box of CDs, you know, back then of my old group. I was 17, so it was not a great music, but I was proud of it back then, you know. And
Of course.
I gave this CD to everyone, and then they called me back a week later for the second tour. I was like, well, okay. So go back with another box of CDs and demos. It was more demos than CDs actually, and then I passed all the auditions, and they called me a week before. Okay, you won, and I was like, okay. So what do I do? And I thought for a long time, and I didn't want to. I was thinking it's hard to make a point in this industry to do something, and I was thinking I don't want to be like in 10 years having regrets that I didn't do it. So I went
Yeah.
to do it. It was an experience, honestly, not my best. It's not because of it. It's just because I don't fit into this kind of program. But still, I
Mhm.
have some very good memories. I had the occasion to make a duet with Lenny Kravitz. So it was like, wow,
Oh,
I sung with Lenny Kravitz. It
it's
was
so
really
funny you
amazing.
mention that. It's so funny you mention that because I think I have a clip. So let's take a look.
Okay.
I want to get away. 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 I want to get away.
Oh my.
What a
I was so
moment.
young, my God.
A baby, just a little
A baby,
baby.
yeah, really. I was 18. Wow.
Oh my God. But like, what a moment because
Oh man,
Lenny
really.
is like big here in the States too.
Or
So,
everywhere in the world. Since I'm a kid, he's one of the first artists that I've been listening when I was a kid. He had this song, so many tears I cry, so much pain inside. Yeah, I love this song when I was a kid, and I still listen to it a bit less nowadays, of course. But yeah, no, it was a real dream to sing with this guy. So he's an
oh my
amazing,
God. I can't,
amazing artist, and
like, you
one
were
of the
so
yeah, definitely
excited in
one of
that
my
clip.
best moments in this with this show. I remember also I sung with Florent Pagny, who is an artist that I love, a French artist,
Mhm.
and we sang with a full orchestra behind us, and we sang this song Maria from West Side Story,
Oh,
which is
really?
the
Oh,
movie I've been watching the most as a kid. I knew all the movie by heart, and being able to sing Maria, that is one of the masterpieces of West Side Story with a full orchestra and this artist that I love. Yeah, this both moment was my best memory of Star Academy. Yeah,
oh my gosh. Now I'm gonna have to look that up. I didn't get to watch actually the whole season 4 is on YouTube. So I was
yeah, no,
perusing and you did a really great job. You placed
thank you.
4th. You know what I mean? Like I think were you the youngest in the cast, right? Or
The youngest guy. There were two. Two younger girls, but like a few months before me. But yeah, I
you
was one
guys
of
are
the
really
youngest.
young. Like
18. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
nerve-wracking,
maybe a
especially
bit
when you
too.
have all these people watching.
Honestly, a bit too young. A bit too young. When I take a step back of this experience, I was way too young. 18. I just had my baccalaureate. I was still living in my parents. I just had my driving license. I was a baby, really a baby, and this experience really completely transformed my life because there was a me before Star Academy and a me after. It's two different person, and I never met again this person that I was before because it was so
Mm,
huge. Like every Saturday we had between around 8, 9, 10, sometimes 11 million people watching the show, and we are 60, 67 million in France, so it's like 1% on six.
wow.
Um, so everybody knew us when we couldn't go out of in the street. It was I was too young to experience that. I think I would have lived a different experience if I was 3, 4 years older than that.
Mhm.
But
Maybe you
still,
would have enjoyed it more because you would have been more
for sure,
experienced.
for sure. Yeah. I
Would you
was way too young.
Do you think so after this, I think maybe a couple years goes by and you join the cast of Romeo and Juliet, and
Hmm.
do you think like you were ready for that type of experience because this was a musical where you're going around and touring and it's a very involved musical. Do you think you were prepared for something like that? Were you preparing before that and doing singing lessons?
Of course, I prepared a lot, but still, I was 20 when I started Romeo and Juliet.
Jeez.
Yeah, still a baby, and
Got some pictures here. Is this like this is the first Like
No,
original, you guys coming back or
I think, okay, I cannot tell you exactly when it was, but I think the first picture is 2009, I think, and the second, oh, I don't know. When was the second one? Okay, basically, I'm based on Damien's hair to tell you that. I think the first one in 2009, and I cannot tell you the second one. I don't know. Oh, 2000, yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember this photo shoot. It was 2010. So yeah, it's 4 years after we started. Yeah.
Okay, so 4 years after you start. So just to go over the story, it's Romeo and Juliet from William
Mhm.
Shakespeare, and it's a musical version. So it doesn't exactly have the original dialogue from the play, but it gets its point across. And you played Romeo's best friend, Mercutio.
Mhm.
So when you were so I was looking at the original version of the production just to like give a background for those who are in the US. It's another French musical, similar to how Notre-Dame de Paris became popular. This also became very popular, but this came out like 2001. Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
exactly, exactly.
And I saw that version that they filmed, and both our Romeo and our Benvolio right over here to the left of John, they were in the original production, and then they came back for this.
Damien, Romeo was, and Cyril, this Benvolio, started in the same time than me. He was not in the original version.
Oh, he was not in the original?
No, maybe they look a little bit alike with the hair, but yeah, no, they are pretty different. Yeah.
Okay. And it was just cool to see the differences between both productions because they were filmed. So the 2001 was filmed, and then your version, the 2010, was filmed.
Mm.
And what my favorite part about it is the differences between the Mercutio. I feel like they built up that character even more from the ground. So my main first question was when you came into the role, what was it? Was it like bare bones and they were telling you, okay, we want to restructure this role, we want to add more meat to it to make the death
Exactly.
more meaningful?
Exactly. Gérard Presgovic, who is a composer and writer and now producer, and Reda, who was a director back then, wanted to change the Mercutio because in the 2001 version they focused a little bit more on Benvolio and less on Mercutio, where Mercutio is like one of the most interesting character in all Shakespeare's writing.
Yes, thank
One
you.
of them, not maybe not the most. I love Puck and yeah, but one of the most definitely. And so they wanted to add exactly some meat to the character, and I was like, yeah, okay, of course, of course. You know, basically, I did the audition to have the role of Tybalt
Oh,
because
okay.
it was a more developed character.
Mhm.
Mercutio was there were no solo.
Oh,
Really less acting than in the play. So I was like, yeah, I think Tybalt is more interesting. So I came to the audition. I sang the song of Tybalt right after. Reda look at me. Okay, do you know the character of Mercutio? I was like, yeah, a little bit. I did the audition for 2006. Yeah, in the summer of 2006, and I saw the show in 2001. So I remember a little bit. So I had the lyrics, and they asked me to do the death of Mercutio directly with the lyrics.
okay.
Okay, it's a kind of a very intense moment that you need to rehearse a little bit, and I haven't heard this song for years, and I had to do my audition with the lyrics in front of me. It was quite hard, but I was lucky that the director and also Evelyn Presgovic, who is Gérard Presgovic's wife and who had followed the whole story of the musical since the beginning. Uh, they both saw something in me. I don't know how, because I don't think I was good in this audition, but they
Oh,
saw something, and they decided to continue with me. Uh, and I was lucky because when I started the rehearsal, they gave me the lyrics. Okay, this is La Folie. That was basically the Mercutio solo that they delete for the first version, and they put it back in this version, but in a different place, and they changed the whole music, a little bit the lyrics, and they wanted to add it again before Mercutio's death. So I was like, wow, okay, so it's kind of becoming interesting. So I was really happy about it. Yeah.
I think it works well. I think it really develops the character even more. And because we study Shakespeare here in the US, and
Of
I
course.
always loved Romeo and Juliet, and I always thought that the side characters are just the more interesting ones,
Definitely, definitely. The
especially
duets
Mercutio.
Mercutio and Tybalt are really amazing.
Yes, I love that. And so, my next question was, so here, actually, I think I have some pictures of you. For some reason, some of these pictures are not working out, but here's two of them of you as Mercutio. And you had the long hair version Mercutio, and then later
Yeah.
on the dreads. Um,
Yeah.
I love the long hair one better for sure. But there you go. But I think it's so interesting because I think you and whoever was your Tybalt, you guys had this banter back and forth that was playful at first before you guys fight. And it was
Mhm.
so much more interesting than some of the other productions I've ever seen of it. I'm like, okay, so let me tell you, like, here's a shot of both of you. I think this is Tom, right?
This is Tom, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened to the other picture. Sorry about that.
No problem.
But you know, Mercutio is just very comfortable in his skin, and in my opinion, and I think a lot of people, there's a huge fan base for this show, and I had no idea until I was researching it.
Oh yeah, everywhere in the world. Of course, Notre-Dame is the main French musical around the world, but Romeo is definitely the second, and there is a huge fan base. We are very lucky about that. Yeah.
There are people that have beautiful artwork pieces of you and
Yeah,
Tybalt.
that's true.
It's like they all ship you.
Some are a
That's what
bit
it's called.
shocking too, but yeah.
They all ship you guys, which shipping means, for those who don't know, is like they think that you're a great pair. You know what I mean? It's like the fantasy pair of who you'd like to see with. So,
Mm,
but Mercutio, you know, he loves and protects everybody, you know, regardless of their label. And I always found him as somebody who's sexually fluid, which is, you know, surprising because you don't see a lot of that representation. So, were you pulling inspiration from the original play because there are like context clues as to, you know, who Mercutio might be, or was there more dialogue about that specifically?
That's actually really interesting because Mercutio, every different production that you see, he's like a different character,
Yes.
completely different from a musical to another one, because there were a lot of different versions adapted in different languages. But also, if you see in plays and in ballets, Mercutio are all different, so you can do a little bit whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, my first inspiration was about Shakespeare, right? Um, and about his humor, his sarcasm, the fact that he's an actor, actually.
Mhm.
The character Mercutio is an actor. So you can, as he's an actor, you can make him act whatever you want. And then Gérard Presgurvic and Reda wanted to add a little bit more deep into his weirdness, his way of being, his sexuality too, and so our three energy created this Mercutio, and actually, I think we are all very proud of what we did of this character.
I think it's very brilliant because especially when you were
Thank
doing
you.
this when you're 20, right? Because you start out as a, you know, a young kid doing this role and you're doing it up until 2019, 2020, right? Right
Mm,
before COVID hit. So,
yeah,
and obviously the character is going to change and evolve with you because you're growing older, but
exactly.
there's still that, you know, wonderful representation. And I was just shocked when I first saw it. I was like, what the heck am I? I'm like, this is not what I usually see at all. So I really appreciate it. I was like, I love this. I was like, I actually wanted more of the Tybalt and Mercutio thing going on. I was like, I forget about Tybalt liking Juliet. I'm like, keep going with Mercutio because this is so much more interesting. Like, I loved it. So I know that they're going to bring it over here to the States next year. So I'm wondering how they're going to how it's going to
Excuse me?
transfer. Yeah. Did you
The
hear that?
musical is absolutely not. You are telling me?
It's in the Midwest, like, it's nowhere near me.
Oh, okay. You mean the adaptation?
Yeah, they're gonna
Oh,
do a
that's cool.
version, and yeah, and
Wow. Okay.
the goal is they wanna tour it. So, Who knows? I
Wow.
would love for them to ask you back, man. It would be great to see you
Oh,
bring it to
wow.
life
Oh,
here.
yeah, it could be cool, actually.
I know. I'm wondering like how they're going to change it. But if you have not seen it, for those who have not seen it, if you type in Romeo and Juliet in 2010, you'll be able to see like it's on YouTube. So I can't find a DVD of it. So go ahead and watch it and spread the word because it's really good. It's just awesome. And here's a little clip of John giving it his all because he is like out there and giving it his all. So here we go.
La folie, elle est mon amie, c'est la folie qui vous dit, allez, vas-y, tu pleures ou tu ris, oui je lui dois tout, moi tout tapis, la folie, elle me tient dans ses mains et je suis.
Nice. I love it. Oh my
That's
God. So good.
You know, as you said, they're funny because I started this character 2006. The last time I played it was 2009, and a lot of things changed. The director changed, so we changed a lot of things. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot we did that at this moment. Now it's really different. Of course, it's a new Tybalt. So yeah, it's really different. So that's why I was laughing.
Yeah. It's a very
Mm.
physically demanding role. And I thought I read
Yeah.
you actually hurt yourself pretty badly during one of the shows.
Yeah,
So
2016. Yeah, 2016. We were in Taiwan actually, and I broke my knee
oh
during
my
a
God.
rehearsal, and I keep going for 2 days. And the night of the premiere, my knees was like completely broken. I couldn't even walk. Yeah, so it's a
Oh my
real.
God.
It's one of the. I think it's one of the most physical characters that I have to play. Yeah.
You have like
Yeah.
15 minutes of being on stage and dying,
Yeah.
and then you're dead on the stage for another like 10 minutes and then pulling your dead body all over the stage. I'm like, you
Yeah.
poor
So
thing,
it's
you
like
just want to rest.
it's a hard 12-15 minutes because before, okay, he has a long agony, but before that he fights and run everywhere. So pretty often when I'm acting the death, I'm using my lack of energy to play my death.
It's and it's not just like the whole cast is putting their all into it, and obviously you have a cast at the Capulets, and then Romeo's side, and I'm blanking on everybody's names right now, but it's really cool. There's another behind the scenes of one of the premieres, and also of you guys preparing backstage to do the show. So here's another cool behind the scenes clips I found.
Excusez-moi, je dois me déshabiller pour le décrotage, donc c'est parti. Ta, 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 ta. Voilà, on commence au griller une carrière. Maman.
Les Montaigus sont les plus beaux, les Montaigus sont les plus chauds. On fait l'amour, on fait la guerre, on fait l'amour, on fait la guerre.
Oh my God. Completely
You're
forgot
all
about the
ready.
thing.
What were you guys saying during the chant?
What are we saying now?
Yeah, what were you saying? Yeah.
Montague are the strongest. Montague are the most beautiful. We make love, we make war. We make love, we make war.
Very nice.
I don't know who decided to say that before the stage, but yeah.
And what were you saying like right at the camera when they were like filming you getting ready? I didn't know what you were saying.
That's really stupid actually. I said, okay, excuse me, I have to get undressed to put my microphone. And then and then you can hear me. Okay, and that's how you kill a whole career.
But that's the thing, like, and I think a lot of people don't know that if they haven't done shows like we have, is that backstage you're just ripping everything off, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like nobody's even paying attention to the fact that you are sometimes semi-naked. You're getting the mic on, putting on a new wig, and it's like it's a crazy backstage.
Exactly. You
so,
know, in this show we have a very fast, a quick change from I think Les Rois du Monde. Oh no, Je Rêve, that is Mercutio solo. So I run in backstage. I have like 3 minutes to get undressed, but it's not just change clothes, you know, as you said, you have to change the microphone, change the back and everything. So it's like you have 3 or 4 people around you, like one undress, one change the mic, one change the package. So it goes very fast. Then you go on the other side and all in a different costume and start a dialogue with Romeo. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you did it.
there's a
It
lot of quick
looks
change here in this kind of shows.
the cool show is the one backstage because nobody knows
Yeah,
what the
that's
heck is
also
going on.
show. That's also show. That's true.
The crew is amazing too. Just like that set is
Yeah,
so
definitely.
beautiful to look.
Mm.
Like I would just want to do a sleepover party at the set. I was like, this is so cool.
Oh, this set is like huge. I remember the first time we saw it. It was in South Korea. We started the rehearsal in 2006 in Paris for like a month, something like that, and then we flew to South Korea to start rehearsing with a set. And we were all impressed because it's huge. You know, the tower is like 9 meters high, and there is a Colisée, and you feel like in a back in 100 years ago. You know, it's really really beautiful and huge.
Oh,
Maybe a bit too huge, actually. You know, there is a lot of theaters that this show cannot go because the set is too big.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
what would they just kind of like saw off the bottom of the buildings and make it lower?
No, we just don't play in the theater. So yeah,
No.
that's
What
a
a
problem. You
bummer.
know, I think the production is starting to think about how to reduce it a little bit to be able to play in more theaters.
Well, it's more about like the dance, but the beautiful set does add like the
Of
escape feel
course.
to it. So it's really cool. So love
You
Romeo
know,
and Juliet.
when you're in the audience and you see the for the first time the set, it's like really impressive. It's like big and you take it like into your face. It's huge, really.
And the costumes, like I just was loving. I think my favorite because I was looking at the other versions of the show because there's the Italian version, which is my second favorite, and you know different productions of it. And this one has the great differentiation between the red and the blue, and I think that that's
Mm.
so imperative to the story, as you know who's against who, and you could see those dancers and these acrobats, like they're so amazing at what they do, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is like a workout show because like 2 hours long.
Oh yeah, for the
Hard.
dancers, it's really physical show.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of injuries because there is a lot of fighting. We run for 2 hours. Everybody run everywhere on stage. It's a physical show. It's it's a cardio show actually.
But you guys pick each other up if somebody falls. Like I saw clips on YouTube of just fans posting things, and you guys get along so well. So if somebody were to fall, somebody will pick them up. You know what I mean? And that's what it is to do a show. Is you're a team. You got to work together.
Yeah,
God
exactly.
forbid something happens and you
And
get hurt.
especially when you go on tour for 5-6 months, you know, it's like a 60 people's family. And of course we mostly stay with each other because sometimes we are, I don't know, in China, Korea, Taiwan or Japan, where people they don't all speak English. I mean, back there because it's really changing. But yeah, basically you stay a few weeks in a city, then visit another one, so you don't really have time to bond with people there. A little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you do when you're lucky. But yeah, mostly we stay among us. So yeah, it's a real family on tour. So we support each other.
Well, we have a fan who has a great question. How do you feel when a show comes to an end, or you know that your time with the show is ending, and now you have to move on to another project?
Oh, at the beginning, you know, I remember the first tour. I was all cry, of course, you know. Of
Oh,
course, the first years, after you start to get used to it, of course you feel it, but you are more used to it, and you know that you will find a new family with a different show and different projects. So, but yeah, it's always heartbreaking to end the tour.
it's a moment in time, and you
Yeah,
always have those like special memories with them forever, you know. And
definitely. Good
pictures,
and bad,
lots of
or bad
pictures.
sometimes.
Well, that too, yes. Always, sometimes the bad it doesn't always play well, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
You learn from it. So,
definitely.
so let's watch a clip of you in Notre-Dame de Paris. Oh, here we go. Sarah and I saw, and we were like, yeah, woo,
Thank you.
amazing. Like, I was literally crying because I never thought the show would ever come over here. I was like, oh my God, my dreams come true. So
I
it
told
was,
you, neither did we.
I know, like it was just perfect timing. I had heard that the show was supposed to come here during COVID, and that didn't
Mm,
happen. And then you
yeah.
guys had to like, push it back. But I'm glad you guys made it here. So what was that experience like to be in New York? Because New York is its own little thing.
Oh my God, it was really amazing. A childhood dream, when you love musical, of course your dream is to sing in Broadway and on Broadway, and I did. Checked. Yay.
You made it. Like that's the key point is Broadway,
Definitely.
or at least over here in the States. So
Of course, but no, not only in States, everywhere in the world, everybody in musical world know Broadway and dream to be there. So yeah,
yeah.
I did it, and I'm really proud of it and happy of it. Yeah.
And you're not only doing, one part, you're doing another part where you're also Phoebus.
Yeah,
So
in New
is
York,
it
I did it too. Yeah.
is it which role do you find more challenging between
Oh,
Gringoire
Gringoire
and
for sure.
Phoebus?
Oh, Gringoire. Definitely Gringoire. Phoebus is really an interesting character, but the emotion is more linear. I don't know about my English, sorry. It's more
No.
straight, and there is not a lot of nuances. And Gringoire is only nuances. There is a lot of side of the character to show during the show. So yeah, no, Gringoire is way more challenging, and vocally one of the most challenging character I have to act. So yeah. Oh, I
There
remember
you
the
are. Look
picture.
at you having so much fun. I feel like you must have more fun with him, but yeah, I'm sure it is. Like
Definitely.
vocally, it's out of this world. Like these amazing high notes. And I forgot when I was watching the show, I was like, I forgot he sings a solo with Frollo. I'm like, I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
forgot.
I love this duet. This, you know, uh, Riccardo Cocciante, the composer, is a real melodist. I love, especially like all the song. There is an amazing melody. No, he's an amazing composer, really, and I love to sing his his writing. Really,
Well,
that's a
somebody has a
beautiful show with beautiful songs.
oh my, it's beautiful. And somebody says, what's the difference between Mercutio and Gringoire? Which one's more challenging in your opinion, since they're both so
Uh,
challenging?
It's very. I cannot answer this question because they are so different characters. Gringoire, it's really challenging vocally. Of course, the acting is huge as Gringoire, but vocally, I have to warm up way more with Gringoire. I cannot put it a night before I'm doing a show as Gringoire. It's impossible because the voice won't follow, or I mean, won't follow. It won't be the best.
Yeah.
When Mercutio, it's more challenging physically and about the acting because it's only that the voice is okay. There is some high notes, but just a few. But it's especially physical and acting. So yeah, the two are very different.
They're pretty equal. I agree with you, I
Yeah,
think, but I don't like the more vocally demanding roles on my end. So I'm like, just give me more acting. Because then you have to do them so often, and you're subbing in for some of the leads at this time. So it was by happenstance again that we even got to see you, Sarah and I, because I was there to see Daniel as the original Frollo, and he wasn't
mm-hmm.
on that day, but I'm blanking on his name. Who was subbing in for him?
Or Robert Marian.
Oh, he was beautiful. It was
Oh yes.
I was so sad at the beginning, but I was like, you know what? It's so great to actually see, because again, we wouldn't have seen either you or him because, and I think a lot of people also forget that those who are swings or understudies are a major part of the production too. The lead actors can't do it without you. They need some time off.
Of
So
course, and especially with Notre-Dame, where they're really focused on finding good understudies.
yes.
And that's why the contract is a bit different with Notre-Dame. To be able to have good understudy, there is some in the contract. It's written that we are supposed to play this amount of shows.
Mhm.
That's how they can have a good understudies on the Notre-Dame de Paris.
Well, Sarah has a question. Have you sang in the States before, or have you visited us before this?
Oh, I visited, but I never sang. I mean, yeah, I sang once in a karaoke when I was 11 in LA, I think, but that's my
Oh,
only experience as a singer in the States. So no, it was really a dream.
only New York and LA you've been to, or whether?
Oh no, I visited LA, San Francisco, um, Vegas, Phoenix. I lived in a family when I was 17 for months there to study English and taps, actually.
Wow.
So it was in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, wow. So did you go to Disney World? Was like
Of
that's my second
course, of
thing.
course, of course I did, and I went to Universal Studio too.
Favorite ride on either park?
Oh, it was more than 20 years ago, so let me try to remember it. I think in Universal, I think I like Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jurassic Park,
That
and
one's
I
fun.
cannot tell you because I was 11 when I went to Disney World, so I don't remember which one was my favorite. I
You
need to
gotta
go
go
back there.
back. Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to come back.
definitely.
And hopefully, if you guys do a national tour over here of Notre-Dame de Paris, I hope you guys stop at Philly because Philly is basically the center station of what the United States kind of became because we have the Declaration of Independence and we have all the cool things in Philly. We're like the
Oh,
next
I've
best
never
thing
been to
behind New
Philly. I
York.
really want to. I really want to discover the city. Yeah.
Well, you've seen the movie Rocky before, the
Yeah, of
thing.
course. Mm.
So when you come, I'll take you to go up the steps, up the art museum
Okay.
steps, just like
All
Rocky.
right.
Everybody's like, "That's the
Okay.
thing to do in
Let's do
Philly,
that.
I guess."
Let's do that.
And then, we have another question. So, have you ever wanted the chance to sing with Bruno, who is the original Gringoire? That would be
Oh,
amazing.
I would have loved to be able, but I was on a different project when Notre-Dame de Paris went to Canada, so I didn't have the occasion even to meet him. We wrote once, but years ago, but I never had the occasion. I would dream about it because he was such an amazing Gringoire. He's he's the one who back then, more than 20 years ago, I didn't know if I wanted to be a dancer or singer. And then I saw Notre-Dame de Paris and I saw Bruno Pelletier acting in Gringoire, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, in a way, he made me become a musical actor in a way. So yeah, I would love to be able to sing one day with him.
What's the most important thing about being a part of the legacy of Notre-Dame de Paris? Because it's been running since 1998. So when you finally got that role and finally got to work in the show, what's been the most important part of running and continuing that legacy for you?
Uh, yeah, as I told you, it yeah, the story is funny because I literally said that's what I want to do when I saw Bruno acting Gringoire, and yeah, 15 years later, I did the audition and passed, and I succeeded. So yeah, personally, it was really huge. I was so proud to be able to sing because, of course, Notre-Dame de Paris is the biggest musical in France.
Yeah.
Everyone dreamed to be a part of it, and I had the chance to start 8 years ago. Then I quit and came back during the COVID. So no, that's one of the thing I'm the proudest in my career is being able to say, okay, Notre Dame de Paris, check.
And they'll never be able to get rid of you. You're coming back. I'm
Maybe,
sure.
maybe. I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe.
Maybe.
Well, they'll always be able to have you in your back pocket. I'm sure they'll like whip you out and be like, just in case.
Yeah, that's a little bit how it works with Notre Dame de Paris. You're in the pocket, and okay, back.
Come on, fly out, fly out. And it's so
Kinda.
cool because like when I came out to the stage door, there were so many fans. And I didn't
Yeah.
like it has a great fan base. So here's a clip, and I think some people who are in this clip are actually watching. So here we go. Hello.
Yeah, I remember that. We were in quarantine in Taiwan. Okay, you cannot see, but we are all here. All the singers are here.
Yeah, so you guys are all up there?
Yeah, we were in quarantine for 2 weeks in Taiwan. It was a few months ago, like 5, 6 months ago. Yeah, of course, we all remember that.
And they were all down below.
Yeah,
dressed
it
up as
was
the
raining
character.
and they were still there. We were like, okay, okay, thank you. Now go inside.
It was so cute. Like, I think that's like the best part about doing shows and like touring is you
Yeah.
get to see the passion. Like, I see dolls being made of you guys, and
Yes, that's
it's
true.
just so cool. I love it. I think it's really cool. And so one person I met in New York, we actually we didn't even we saw each other, but we didn't know we were, and then we met each other on Instagram. Was Emily, and she has a question, which is about your new show. So she says, you have been working on your new project Moliere for a long time. Do you think you'll release an album of the musical, or are you working on a preview?
Now, unfortunately, the project of Molière is on standby.
Mhm.
There is a lot of things happening. There is another production that are doing Molière at the time that we were supposed to do it too, and it's a
Oh,
way bigger production. So we will try to make it, but we don't know if we can. So
oh,
for now,
come
it's
on.
on standby, unfortunately. Yeah,
No.
in France,
Oh.
there is not a lot of musical, unlike in Broadway or in South Korea that I know a little bit more. For example, in South Korea, in the same time, you can have two or even three production of the same on the same theme.
Mhm.
Because there is so many projects there. In France, there is really just a tiny bit of projects. So when there is one who is doing one team, you cannot have two in the same time. So we still hope we will be able to make it one day, but we are not sure about it, unfortunately.
And you seem so passionate because I saw some of the videos about you promoting it, and some of the video clips of the gentleman who's going to play Moliere going around and telling his story. Because I saw
Hmm.
one show of his and I was fascinated with the man, but I didn't know very much. So if anybody's watching would like to learn more about Moliere, if you type in Moliere the musical, you guys have a YouTube channel just about,
Yeah.
his life, and he's a
Hmm.
very fascinating man. So
Oh, definitely. Like Molière is kind of the French Shakespeare, if you want to have an
yes,
idea. He's the biggest theater writer in France in history. So yeah,
very
there was a
notable.
lot of things there's a lot of things to say about his career, his writing, his acting, and also his life.
Brilliant person, because I just was
Definitely.
starting to do more research on him, and just a really talented person and funny, like really
Oh
funny.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
it was funny because I got to see like a high school group do one of his shows, which was the comedy, and it was really funny. I was like, this is good stuff.
Yeah, and what I was surprised about it, years before we announced that we planned to do this show, I was in South Korea like 2 3 years ago, and
Mm.
I saw advertisement for Piece of Molière, the play, in
Oh,
Korean, So he's like really popular everywhere in the world.
well,
So yeah,
his legacy can, like, I feel like they do a lot of Moliere's pieces, especially in California too.
okay.
Maybe not over here in the East Coast, but that's I would love to be in a Moliere production. That would be really cool. That's a challenge because like comedies, I
Oh,
feel
it
like are
is.
harder, right?
I think so. Comedy is harder than drama for sure.
Yes, because you really have to make people laugh, and if you can't make them laugh, you're not doing well.
Yeah, exactly.
So then also, I have another question. Do you think that you might take part in Romeo and Juliet because it's coming back with Damien in 2023?
Maybe.
Maybe. You can't say,
Maybe.
probably.
I cannot say for now. It's not sure. We are talking about it,
Well,
so
let's
maybe.
see. Hopefully, that would be cool. And then somebody brings up skydiving, and I saw that video on your YouTube page.
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, "You've gone skydiving? Oh my gosh." Okay. So tell me about that experience, because is it scary?
Oh oh, it is. It is really. And I'm a bit high scared, but it was a challenge that I wanted to do, and also because my one of my dream when I was a kid was to be able to fly. So yeah, it was just a matter of time when I was doing it, and it was like 6 7 years ago.
Mm.
Unfortunately, a year later, I broke my knee, and I'm a bit scared to do it again
I
because
don't
okay,
blame you.
I have no problem with my knee, but it's still a bit fragile, so I need to take care of it a little bit more than before. And I'm a bit scared to skydive again. So maybe, but it was one of the biggest experience of my life, really.
It's funny you mentioned being scared of like doing extreme things. So I fractured and dislocated my elbow
Oh
in
my.
January.
Okay,
And
sorry.
I fell. Oh no, it's okay. I'm okay now, but like I'm very conscious now. Like I'm like walking down steps
Exactly.
slower.
Exactly.
So I know what you're talking about. It's like, no, thank you. I don't think I'm gonna go on that roller coaster this time when Matt
Mm,
Disney. I'm like, no, I don't want to hurt myself anymore.
definitely.
And oh, you know what? I wanted to talk about your album because you created this album during COVID, and it's so beautiful, and you
Thank
had
you.
an actual orchestra playing your music, and that you wrote it. So, what was the inspiration behind the album?
Um, some of the music I had some part for years, uh, and yeah, basically I'm very busy. And during the COVID, for the first time in years, I were like, okay, I have no project for a few months, maybe a year, maybe more. So maybe it's time to go back to my creativity and well, my I don't have really a specific point that inspire me. It can be a conversation, a walk outside, or a show that I see, or music that I listen to. Um, I don't know how to answer this question actually.
Well, it
I,
seems like you talk a lot about love and like relationships. Maybe that's just
of
my
course,
interpretation of it,
of
but
course, love is a big part of everyone's life. So yeah, love was a big part. Actually, I didn't wrote the lyrics. I worked with a lyricist, but I didn't wrote it because I feel more as a composer than a writer now.
okay,
But about the lyrics, so for the 4 songs in English, I worked with Sua, who's a Korean writer. Um, Basically, I gave her the music because I wrote the music before the lyrics, and some of them had some lyrics, some of them not, and we talk a lot about where we can go for some of the lyrics. I told him, okay, what about whatever you want. For some, I was like, okay, I want to go in that direction. I have this few phrases, use it or not, but just to give you a lead. And for the French lyrics, I worked with Alexa Donda,
mhm,
and I've been working with her on Molière. Actually, she's a lyricist of Molière, so we know each other. And I told her, okay, this is a music, and I know how she works, and she works way better when you don't put some boundaries to her creation. So I sent her the song, and then I told her, write about whatever you want, do whatever you want. And she sent me the first draft. I changed one line on the first draft, and then yeah, the first draft was half of the song, and the second half came, and I maybe changed a word on two. Basically, that's what she wrote because I really loved what she wrote, such as Sua, the work she did on the um. Oh, which song is it? Oh, it's been a while. I haven't listened to my own song.
I hear you on that. I created an album in 2018 and it was a monster. I didn't know what to expect, and I was by myself in the whole thing. And sometimes I'm like, what did I record? I don't even remember. People tell me, I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that song.
Yeah, and when you create song, you don't often listen to yourself. Let's say it
No.
that way.
Oh my God, no. And I'm sorry because I know that performers sometimes don't like to watch or hear themselves. I totally get that, but no, I don't go home and I listen to my own songs. Absolutely not. And I'm sure you
Yeah,
don't do the
no,
same either. You're like, you want to perfect it. You're a perfectionist, in my opinion. I feel like you know what you're gonna
thank
hit,
you.
and it's hard because you hear yourself and you're like, oh God, I could have done that so much better, and then you're
Yeah, you
you're
can
you're
do
mean
the
to
best, of
yourself.
course. Especially me, trust me.
I
So
know.
yeah, I was searching, and for example, now is time. So the song "Now is Time" that's your award, is one of the songs that she didn't have any direction,
Okay.
and that's the one where I okay, sorry for my English, I don't have the word. I see myself the most,
Okay, so
actually.
it expresses who you are as a
Yeah,
person
it's
probably the
yeah,
most.
definitely. That's the one that expressed who I am the most. And yeah, we know each other for a while, and she knows me, and that's what I inspired her for this lyrics actually.
And
So,
it's I love them because I finally got the CD and I was just listening to it, and my favorite is this track, which is "Let Me Go Away." I just love how
of course,
the beat
yeah.
bass comes in. So let me play a little clip for our listeners to hear.
Only to find the dying pieces of mine. Let me go away, because I don't know how I can escape.
Just a little sneak peek because we want people to buy it, right? Which you're going to have to go to John's website, which is in the show notes below. It's his full name. So johneyzen.com, and you can buy an MP3 copy of it, or you can get the actual CD like I did. Mine's upstairs, though. I didn't bring it down with me. I'm sorry, but I
Don't
have
worry.
it. And so hopefully, like, if I ever get to meet you, I want you to sign it because I just want to be like, I've got it signed. But it's really good. Like, and you had a lot of
Thank you.
fans who helped you with the go. It was a Kickstarter.
Oh yeah. I did a Kickstarter a little bit more than a year ago, and I did the production of the whole album myself. So I booked the studio. I did the math for the financial and everything.
You're your
it
own
was
agent. You're running
Yeah.
the show.
definitely I run everything, and so I planned that it would cost that money. And so I started the Kickstarter with, okay, I need this amount. I don't remember. And I had way more. And actually, it's good because the album costs way more than I expected.
Exactly.
So
That's what happens. You're like,
it's
you
really
budget
good
it
that,
and then it
that
gets
I
more.
had a little bit more than when I had. I still had to pay a little bit for it, but like way less than if the fan didn't support me. So once more to everyone who participated, thank you so much for helping me during this album.
It was so good. So please go ahead and buy it.
Thank
And I'm
you.
sure you're working on getting it on like streaming services, because I know people are going to be asking, is it on streaming? It isn't yet, but are you working
Not
on
yet,
that?
but
Or?
it will a little bit later. But yeah, I plan to put it on streaming. Yeah.
And that will be cool because then we can get you
Yeah.
Spotify listens. Woo! And we have this is a really good question. Musical Fan says, which country or city have you always wanted to go and travel for a performance that you haven't been to yet?
Okay, so before that it was New York, of course. Okay, the next step would be London. Of course, singing in West End is a second dream.
That would be amazing. You should be in Phantom of the Opera. I would love to see you as Raoul, but you could probably really pull off the Phantom.
I auditioned for Raoul when it came to France. Yeah.
Oh my god! And they
I did the audition.
you?
Oh no, but the one they picked was really good. But unfortunately, the show didn't run because they had a huge trouble in the theater. Yeah, the fire.
Fire! Oh my god!
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. And it's quite ironic when you think about they were fire in the theater for the Phantom of the Opera. It was
In
like
Paris.
meant to be in Paris.
Oh my
But
god!
yeah, no, they took Bastien Jacquemart for the role of Raoul, and he's amazing. He really nailed it during the audition. Well, maybe another time, maybe another time.
That would be really cool. Oh my gosh, Phantom's like my favorite musical of all time. That would be so. But I think like you could probably do Phantom if you wanted to. You know what I mean? That would be so cool.
I think I'm not really a lyrical kind of singer, so opera kind of singer. So I mean, I can hit the notes. I can hit the note, but what the audience are expecting of the Phantom, I'm not sure I can fit in. Raoul, maybe. Yeah.
That would be cool, though. I hope so.
Less opera. Yeah.
We're losing it here in New York, which is such a shame because they actually had a casting audition for casting call for Raoul maybe like I don't know 2 months ago or something like that. So we're sad to be losing
but they're closing.
But...
They're closing, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy. After what, 25, 35 years? Don't remember how long they stay in Broadway.
35 years. Yeah,
35 years. Yeah.
Something like
read
that.
That's crazy.
Older than both of us, right?
Yeah, but
I think
they will come back for sure. They will come back for sure. The Phantom, I mean.
Notre-Dame de Paris comes in, and that just sneaks right in there. That would be
maybe okay. let's be realistic, but okay, maybe.
I will always have a lovely, warm, soft spot for it. And I just wanted to, because I know we're wrapping up, but I just wanted to really thank you because it was so wonderful to finally see it. And sometimes there's people who just kind of like check it at the gate because they don't want to do like the full performance. But you and the rest of the cast were so into it. And this audience was not. I was like in the front row, the only one who was like really into it. But it was just so much fun to see you guys have fun on stage because it was my first time back in New York since COVID. And it was such a blessing and a wonderful experience. So I just really wanted to say thank you. Say it
My
again?
pleasure. Have you seen some other shows while you were on Broadway?
Not that day. I did a whole 12-hour day in New York just to come and see you guys.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
It was great. The last show I saw was Sunset Boulevard with Glenn Close. So Glenn was on Broadway, and that was
Oh my, you saw that.
full orchestra. Because Broadway doesn't usually have full orchestras like you guys did, right? Well, you had the violins down here, but it was really cool. But it was just a wonderful experience. So, and I'm glad I got all my merch. Like I bought it out. I was like, give me everything. I want it all. It was great. I got my keychain and I have it every day I go to work. I have my little keychain and I'm like,
yeah. That's cool.
Do you have any other projects you want to mention before we kind of close it out? Because I'm sure there's other things or.
Yeah, of course. But unfortunately, it's too early to talk about the future project. But I really hope soon I will be able to announce some things. But I prefer not to talk about it because 4 projects on 5 doesn't happen.
It happens.
That's how it works. So I don't want to talk about something that will not happen, but I hope that some will.
Well, whatever happens, you let us know. We'll come back, do another. Maybe we should just do a Romeo and Juliet reunion with all of you guys because you're all so darn talented. I just want to ask more questions about that because it's just so much fun to watch.
So that would be cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. But, thank you guys so much. A lot of people are in the chat saying that they love all your music. So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and for your comments.
And just to wrap it up, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. If you want to see more interviews and reunions, please feel free to subscribe to my channel and continue this conversation with us on social media. You can tag John's on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. If you have any other questions, shoot us messages there. You can check out my website at tammytuckey.com. And again, thanks, John, for joining us. It was
my pleasure. Thanks for the invitation. Thank you very much.
And see you soon, guys. And remember, we're all kings of the world. Have a good night, guys.